Hey everyone, it's Nardo here. Nardo wanted to talk about his army that he's been collecting. So I think I'm just going to talk about the standard troops of them, give a little synopsis of them, see if anyone likes my funny take, my funny opinion on them, and let's see. I'll just inform you guys about stuff. Yeah, that seems fine. Look at that one. I'm going to talk about these Hearthkyn warrior boys. These are from the League of Votan. Right, they're pretty wacky special boys. So let's get on with it. So what do you get? What is a Hearthkyn warrior, right? So you get 10 dudes for 120 points. That's all right. They got 5-inch movement, pretty slow, like an orc. 3 up weapon skill, very good, like a space marine. 3 up ballistic skill, very good, like a space marine. 4 strength, 4 toughness, like a space marine. 1 wound, not like a space marine. You got 2 wounds. Only the Thane, which is like the sergeant equivalent, gets the 2nd wound. So he's like a space marine. And just like a Space Marine, they get 2 attacks, no extra ones on the charge, unlike a Space Marine. But the Thane got 3, which is good. Leadership 7 and 8, which is pretty standard, honestly, at this point in 40k. That's pretty average, honestly. Like, what's less than that? Guard? Cultists? I guess, that's it. And a 4-up save, which is very respectable. On a 28mm base, which is the small ones. It's like not the Space Marine ones, it's like the Guardsman ones, which are pretty good. So, what do they get? Just as the 12-pointed dude, what does that dude have? The dude has a bolt pistol, which is handy for the nice little, in case of melee, but it's a better bolt pistol than the normal bolt pistol. See, this one has an extra AP, because it's an autok pattern, you know? Those funny Votan, they've been developing their technology, which is a bad no-no. Then they got the autok pattern bolter, which they all carry. It's like a bolt gun, but better in every way, because it's Hunter 2 instead of Rapid 1. And what that means is it can fire its full shots at its full range, even if you move. But it can't fire after advancing. And yeah, that's what Hunter means. It's basically normal. It's like normal gun. It's just 2 shots at that range, and no downside. And no upside, really. But yeah, it's just a normal gun. 1 extra AP, because it's cool. And then they also all carry the gravitic concussion grenades, which are, like, not as good as a crack grenade for single target, a lot better than a frag grenade for, like, the multi-target, but frag grenades aren't that good to start with anyway, so being a lot better than a frag grenade isn't really saying much. But you get to do funny stratagems with them later on, so that's basically the main purpose of them. You aren't really going to be tossing a grenade every turn. However, you could spend an extra point on each of these dudes, right? You could also run them in squads of 20, which is, there are some reasons to do that, but not unless you're really leaning into that build. But they can get another gun for an extra point each, for each dude. And what is this? So for 130 points, right, for 10 dudes, you can get them with the funny gun. The funny gun's this Ion Blaster for an extra point, right? And that gun seems pretty damn good. It has shorter range than the bolter. Yeah, that's fine, whatever, 18 inches. Alright, you can get them in there. There's ways of moving them around. 5 inches, that's like 23-inch threatening range. It's Hunter 1, so no downside at shooting at full range or whatever. Strength 5, great against those Space Marines. Minus 2 AP, great if you're shooting 10 shots of them at Space Marines. With minus 2 AP, that's minus 1. That gives them a 50-50 chance of dying, so that's alright. And 2 damage, which is the main one, the main, like, Space Marine killer. That 2 damage is huge. So this is a pretty good this is a good upgrade if you're just looking for a unit that can shoot at Space Marines and expect to kill some Space Marines. You know, that's good. They used to have, now, this stratagem, Ion Storm, you can still use it with it. However, it's a lot harder to, like, pull off in a meaningful way. So what this stratagem says is, use the stratagem in your shooting phase. When a Votan unit from your army is selected to shoot, until the end of that phase, each time a model in that unit makes an attack with an Ion weapon, an unmodified wound roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target in addition to any normal damage. And then if it contains 11 or more models, it costs more, but whatever. So it's not worth it nowadays, because Judgment Tokens, which is a mechanic in Votan, in the like whole Votan Codex, which give you auto wounds on progressively better rolls of 6, 5, and then 4, depending on how many Judgment Tokens you have on the thing you're shooting at, either 1, 2, or 3, and it gets better the more Judgment Tokens you have. It used to be that would, if you get that hit of a 4, that counts as a 6 to wound. It no longer counts as that, so that's sad, and you won't ever get to proc. You'll get to proc this if you roll a 3 to hit, and this is assuming the guy has like 3 Judgment Tokens, which is very easy to do in a game, to get 3 Judgment Tokens on something you want to shoot at. So you shoot at them, you hit on a 3, which doesn't trigger the thing, and then you have to roll a 6 to get the mortal wound. So you gotta aim for 3. It's hard to pull off, and I don't think it's worth it anymore. Otherwise, they're just nice if you just want to just spend the points on them now and then not spend any command points during a game with them and just have them be a reliable killy unit. That's like alright. Like, the Ion Blaster is not a bad choice at all compared to the Autok bolt gun. So let's go to the next thing. Alright. But what about their funnier guns, right? How are the funnier guns? They can take 2 weapons, but they can't be the same one per 10 men, right? So if you have 20 men, you can take 2 of the same gun. So in 10-man squad, you can take the Hearthkyn Plasma Beamer, the High-Las Auto Rifle, the L7 Missile Launcher, or the Magna Rail Rifle. Alright, so the Plasma Beamer, it's okay if you want to do like beam stuff. It's probably the second best gun on here. The High-Las Auto Rifle is alright, and probably would be the gun I would take aside from the Magna Rail Rifle, and that would just be because it's only 5 points, and it just doesn't cost that much. It's 3 extra shots at strength 6. It's like having a better, like one guy has a better bolt gun. And you basically take this if you're at 1995 points and you want to fill up to 2000, and that's the easy one. So the L7 Missile Launcher, I really do not like this gun, right? So it's like a missile launcher that you've seen on many other factions, like the Astral Militarum or Funny Space Marines, or Chaos Space Marines even. So, but it's slightly better, but you'll see why I don't like it. So it's Strength 9 and Strength 5 with its crack and frag profiles, which is called Focused and Blast in this, which is better than average. -2 and -1 AP, which is the same, which I don't like, and the damage is the same as the other one. And then it's either 1 shot or D6 shots. The reason I don't like this is because it only has -2 AP, and against basically every army that you'll be fighting, it's going to be -1 AP, and -1 AP on a dedicated like anti-tank weapon isn't really that good. And the blast isn't really going to be doing anything unless you're fighting hordes. But like, when are you fighting hordes? When does anyone fight hordes? Okay, so yeah, that's I wouldn't rate the L7 Missile Launcher that highly. And the Magna Rail Rifle is just the best gun in the game. It costs 20 points, but it's so damn worth it. It has the Hunter 1. It's Hunter 1, so it shoots 1 shot, 24 inches, which is respectable, Strength 9, which is amazing, -4 AP, which is great, and that can be improved a little further. You'll see how later. The D3+3 damage, which is incredible, and it has the Magna Rail keyword, and what that means is it ignores invuls just all the time, right? So you're not taking any invuls on this -4 AP, so that's pretty good. That's gonna be taking out like the good tanks and stuff. However, if you're feeling spicy and you want to shoot this at like troops of some kind on the enemy's team, the Magna Rail on a 6 to wound, it has carryover damage similar to a flail from like Death Guard, or I don't know anyone else that has that. I think the Death Guard are the only ones. Correct me in the funny comments if you want. But yeah, it has carryover damage on a 6 to wound. And normally that's a lot harder to do now because how the Judgment Tokens work, proccing the Judgment Token doesn't count as an automatic 6 to wound. But there are ways to get around that for just a single shotgun. A single shot gun. And those ways work better with the Magna Rail Rifle than the L7 Missile Launcher because of the massive AP and the ignoring involts that it does. And I think the Magna Rail Rifle is worth like 3 or 4 L7 Missile Launchers, so it's definitely worth its points. Okay. What about the Sergeant? So those were the heavy weapon guys. Can the Sergeant hold funny jokes? Well, yeah, but like he gives up his funny gun. You don't want to do that. Unless you're playing like Chronos Hegemony, but why would you want to do that when you could play the good one, which is the Greater Thurian League? He gives up his funny gun. He can take a Concussion Gauntlet, which is it's okay. It's like a worse Power Claw. It's like a worse Power Fist. Yeah, for for the same cost. It's kind of lame. The Plasma Axe, it gives you the extra strength. And you got 3 AP, which is pretty good. 1 damage. It's not that impressive. The Plasma Sword, though, it's like if I had to pick like one of these melee weapons to give to the man, I'd probably give him the Plasma Sword just for the extra attack, just so there are more AP high attacks in the melee phase when these guys are doing anything. But honestly, I wouldn't give him any. I'd just leave him like that. You can trade his pistol for a different pistol. Now you can trade it for an ion pistol, which I think is funny, because the ion, like the big ion gun, costs 1 point, and the pistol costs 5 points, and it's just Is it smaller? I thought that was silly. So you can trade his normal bolt pistol for one of these funny pistols if you want. Maybe the Etikarn plasma pistol might be worth it. And what I think is funny about the Etikarn plasma pistol, give me a second, let me go back. Yeah, so the Etikarn plasma beamer, right? If we go back here, it has beam and the pistol doesn't. The pistol should just have, why didn't they just let the pistol have beam? 6 inches? Are they worried that they're gonna like line up a beam shot with 6 inches? Yeah, I'm sure you guys all know what beam does. It's like you draw a line. It's like Mortarian's funny lantern, like that. It works like that. Yeah, so just reference that rule. Alright, can they carry anything cool besides the best gun in the game, which was the Magna Rail Rifle, as we agreed? Yeah, they can carry really good things. So they can take a metapack, which just, if they fail a saving throw, they can instead just, oh, that guy's fine. That guy actually takes 0 damage instead. And they can do that once per turn. So meaning you get it once on your turn, when you're like, I don't know, attack, if you like do a charge and don't kill them all and then they hit you and they only get 1 through, and then you use this to not have that one guy die. Like, that's great. And then on their turn when they like shoot you or attack you back, you get another use of it. So it's like turn, not battle round. See, that's the main difference. It's once per turn, not once per battle round, which is pretty damn neat. The multi-wave comms array. I go back and forth on this. I thought it was bad at first, and I thought it was like maybe okay, and then I'm kind of leaning more towards bad. But it's not that bad. So what it does is it gives the calls, it lets you have reroll ones from your calls up to 24 inches away, which is fine. But these guys have a lot of ways. Like, if you really want to get that increased accuracy, there are ways for you to get that anyway, through stratagems of some kind. So I usually don't think the multi-wave comms array is that important to the build. The Panspectral Scanner, however, absolutely amazing. I thought it was like bad. Who even cares about light cover? Who even stands on cover? Everyone stands on cover. Why wouldn't you stand on the cover? Literally every person you're ever going to fight is going to have a model on cover. And what this does is it gives an extra AP to every single one of your guys if that guy's in cover, essentially. That's like the equivalent. So those Terminators in cover, right? You shoot them with the Magna Rail thing. They're saving on 6s instead of 5s because you have the Panspectral Scanner. So that's the good one. That's what you want. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. So how would you run them normally? This is how I would run them normally. Anyway, this is just my opinion. This is an opinion piece. This isn't like, you know, straight truths. Except my opinion's really good though, so it's worth a pretty good amount, I'd reckon. 7 dudes, the Thane and 6 dudes, just all bolters. They don't need to run in. They don't need to go in and fight things. They're gonna be holding points and shooting at guys that they can see. That's all they're doing. A Magna Rail Rifle because it's the best gun in the game. A Metapack because it just pays for itself. You block 1 damage, that's 12 points saved from a guy not dying at the minimum, you know? And then, like, it gives you access to a stratagem later, which we'll talk about, which is also very good. And the Scanner for another 5 points is just an extra AP on everyone. So this is the standard build at 150 points for... So this is the standard build. I'll just spend 150 points on them to get these funny jokes. And yeah, that's a good one. Can they do stratagems? Do they have any funny stratagems that they can use? They have access to 22 stratagems that can be used on them, or used in conjunction with them. But I reckon these are the good ones that are most relevant to them themselves. So they got Ancestral Sentence, which lets you, in your shooting phase, you can pick these dudes, right? And each time they shoot, they reroll all of their hit rolls. So that is pretty good. It also works in the fight phase. And it's just 1 CP. As long as the enemy has a judgment token, you reroll all your hit rolls. So that's like what you'd use if you really need the accuracy for them. Point Blank Fusillade, fantastic. It lets you shoot in melee. That's what it does. This lets you shoot in melee with them. That's great. Why wouldn't you want to do that? That's fantastic. It has more words talking about beam weapons, but I just cut it off because it just goes on about the beam weapon and how it's complicated and confusing. Hunter's Mark is a very fun one. So you use it in your shooting phase, and instead of rolling to hit or something, you just automatically hit, and then you still need to make the wound roll afterwards. This is amazing to trigger the Magna Rail Rifle's 6's carryover damage. And the way you do that is you choose that unit, you choose what you're shooting at. You're shooting at like a unit of Space Marines, a little unit of little Primaris Intercessors, right? Some young boys there. You hit them with the Hunter's Mark with the Magna Rail, and then you got old Uthar the Destined near that place, near those guys, and he tells them, "Hey, Magna Rail, you actually rolled a 6 for the wound right there." But you can try to roll the 6 first, just normally, and then if you don't get it, then you can activate his funny ability to make it a 6, and then it just has carryover damage, and you can kill like 3 Primaris Space Marines that way, and that's alright. That's not the worst. So there's that. That's how you use Hunter's Mark with them. That's a good one. So Optimized Volley and Reactive Reprisal. These favor having a nice big 20-man unit of boys. And so what these guys do. So Reactive Reprisal, right? It costs 1 CP if the unit you're using it on is a Hearthkyn Warrior. Otherwise, it costs 2 CP is essentially this thing. You have to pick a Votann core unit, right? You can't use it on anyone that's not core. But if you pick a Hearthkyn Warrior who was that core unit, then it only costs 1 CP, otherwise it costs 2. So you can use it on like the bikes or the naked guys that have the axes and hammers, but that would cost 2 CP. But on a 20-man Hearthkyn Warrior squad, that's 1 CP. And what this does, what Reactive Reprisal does, is if it gets shot at, right, you shoot them back. You immediately shoot at the unit that just shot you, and at normal ballistic skill, and you only target that one unit. That's like the downside or whatever. But yeah, you just shoot them after they're done shooting. So as long as you keep that Magna Rail alive, then you fucking get them, you know? And Optimized Volley is 6s are 2 hits, which is really good. And if you have lots of guys, then 6s are 2 additional hits. But it's only for the bolt weapons, which is sad. Otherwise, like, fucking Magna Rail all day with this. Stick a Magna Rail in 20-man squad, get 3 hits on the 6, that'd be silly. But no, it's only for bolt guns. Yeah, so 1 CP for 20-man guys, get each 6 is 3 hits for their funny bolt guns on Optimized Volley. That's not bad. That's alright, I think. And that's like a fair reason. If you want to like, there is like a way to build and a reason to build like 20-man squads of these guys and have this like funny infantry-based overwhelming firepower kind of army, which could be cool. Then we got these 3 other funny stratagems up here. You see? Look, you can see my mouse. I tried to make sure you could. It's right there. So you got Combat Surgery, which if they have a med pack, which, like, there's no reason to not run the med pack. The med pack's so good. You just bring back D3 of them on your command phase, which is pretty handy, especially because you can do it on your command phase. So you can move them up, and if you like, you just missed the objective. Oh no. But objectives check at the end of the command phase. So you use the combat surgery, you revive those 3 guys, and you revive them onto the objective, and boom, you're holding it. And these guys are obsec, so maybe you even take it from the other guy. So that's good. Then you get well-ordered retreat, which is just you can fall back and shoot. That's always good. You can do that with so many things. Any Evo 10 core can do that. And that's great too. They get concussion blast, so they're one of the few guys that you remember those concussion grenades. That's why they got this concussion keyword. So what this does is the bad guy can't overwatch or set to defend, which is kind of irrelevant. They're not going to be charging. It might be fine if you're like setting up for a different charge with your Hearthkyn like Terminator guys or your naked burly dwarf boys. Like if you're setting up, that's also good for this. But the main reason, like, we're just talking about the Hearthkyn Warriors today. We're just saying, like, why does this benefit them? Is it also subtracts 1 from the enemy's attack rolls until the start of your next shooting phase. So they'll have it, like, if you're worried that a guy's going to charge you, you just, like, toss a little grenade in. Boom, all those possessed are hitting you on 4s now, or probably 3. I don't know how good possessed are at hitting. All those guys hitting you on 1 worse now. So maybe you'll live. Who knows? Usually if anything that likes melee gets into melee, it's probably going to kill you anyway. So the concussion thing maybe it'll save you. Who knows? It's still funny to just have in your little back pocket. And there's more stratagems, but most of them are just very situational, and I didn't want to put all of them here. So yeah, that's the Hearthkyn. They're good. They're alright. I'd run like 4, maybe 5. Probably 3 units of them. Who knows? Look at that. And that's the Magna Gun. That's the one that shoots 3 times. That's it though. Alright. That's it. Thanks for giving me a big watch. That was good. Alright. Smash that like button. Maybe I'll do more. See, tell me if you want me to do more of these, or should I just give up on this? Is it did I do a bad one? Did I do a good one? Should I change something? Should I add something? Ooh, that'd be good. Alright. Bye-bye.